Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new podcast here at Realtor Talks. Today, we've got the co-founder and managing director of luxuryproperty.com, Andrew Cummings, on the podcast. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And today, we're going to be talking about how he got into the real estate industry, social media, and how he's using that to build his business and personal brand, as well as some tips for business owners of real estate companies here in Dubai.
Excellent. I'm keen to see how hard these questions are going to be. I'm prepared.
They're not difficult, Andrew. It's just your personal opinion.
I've been revising all night.
Okay, so first thing I wanted to ask you is, I know that you've had a distinguished career before you came to Dubai and started in the real estate business here. If you can just tell anyone listening and watching what you used to do and then why you moved into the real estate industry.
Sure. Well, my background's pretty weird for real estate. I started originally after university. I went into the British Civil Service and sort of worked my way through in government, working in a range of roles in counter-terrorism and foreign policy, which climaxed basically working as one of the advisors to the Prime Minister on the Middle East and North Africa. So I was doing that a lot during the Arab Spring and times like that. So that was like a fascinating part of my career. I then moved on from government and worked actually for a year for one of the royal families here in the Middle East, giving them advice on various things. And then after that went into management consultancy, but then was sort of aiming in the development sector. So I was basically working in all the most glamorous countries in the world. So I did projects in South Sudan, in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in Iraq, in Libya, so all over the sweet spots of danger. And I did that for a number of years and actually moved to Dubai to set up the Dubai office for that company, with a view of getting some business out here in the region in places like Saudi, places where I wouldn't be worried that I was going to be blown up. While I was out here, I'd met my business partner actually on a plane journey previously. I was coming back from Afghanistan, him from Dubai, and then we moved out on the same day on the same flight, totally coincidentally, and we just struck it off. We spoke a lot about real estate. I loved watching $1 Million Listing, which makes it all seem very easy. I just looked at this market and saw that I thought there was a gap. That there was there's over 7,000 real estate agents here, but I don't think there's enough highly professional real estate companies, highly professional real estate agencies. And I thought there was a gap in terms of a company that could come in and really do luxury very well, whilst providing sort of a very high level service. So I'd always been interested in business, but never had some sort of I was never like, oh, I want to own my own business or anything like this. But there just seemed to be an opportunity that was too good to miss. We just decided to set up the company and quit my entire career and give it a go. So high risk strategy.
So yeah, well, are you like a risky, not a risk averse, like someone who goes towards risk naturally, or are you
incredibly risk averse? I'm very conservative. I'm very one of my best friends in the UK. I swear he's had so many jobs. He works in banking, but he'll just quit one because he knows he's going to get another one. He's so confident, and he always does. He always succeeds when he does this stuff. I've always been the opposite. It took a lot for me to quit the civil service. That was rubbish salary, but incredible jobs. I was working number 10, went to the White House and the West Wing and all of this stuff. But to quit that was a huge risk for me at the time, and I was very worried about what I'd do. And then when I was working as a consultant, I was a very senior, I had shares and things like this. And it was, again, a big risk to sort of move from that. But I suppose those 2 points, those 2 career inflections have been the one time in my life when I've really taken a risk. Moving to Dubai in some way was a bit of a risk. I had no idea, didn't know anyone here. But normally throughout most of my life, I'm incredibly risk averse. If I take my personal finances, I have a spreadsheet which shows me how much money I've got in the account, how much I'm going to spend, so I can track exactly what month I would run out of money if I don't earn another penny. And that's what motivates me, because I'm saying, oh God, I'll run out of money then. Right, I need to earn it. So I'm super conservative. So doing this was definitely a little out of character.
Okay, that's good though. But I think you do need to take a little bit of risk in life, otherwise you won't necessarily experience it as other people would.
You've got to back yourself, basically. It's weird. I'm not one of these motivational speaking, like sales guys and all that. I'm rubbish at that stuff, as you know, from having to sit in team meetings with me. But like, what I do think is, you've got to just be confident in, if you've got an idea and a plan, you've just got to do it. What I've always been very good at is, like my business partner, Jason, he comes up with some idea that's zany left field, that's brilliant, but absolutely zero idea how that actually turns into a reality. I'm a former bureaucrat, so I'm a process guy. So I'm very much about, okay, to achieve this, we need to go A, B, C, D, and E. And, trying to put in place those building blocks are the things that can effectively de-risk your decision making.
Okay, so having that kind of plan, is that how you think you've had such good success in such a short time period? Obviously, being a relative newcomer to the industry, and you've won awards with Property Finder, for example. Do you think that meticulous planning is why you've been so successful, or is there another reason?
No, I'd say the one part where we haven't done well on planning is, so we've never had a business plan, never had a well-written presentation. And this is what I used to do. I used to be great at these presentations. We have basically gone for a growth strategy that's been very organic. We've hired brokers and tried to build around them. We've targeted a few areas that we can be successful in. So there has been some strategy to it, and there's a lot of strategy around what we do digitally and how we build our digital presence so that we're number one on Google. So that's been a sort of a key thing. But for me, the way we've got to where we've got is hard work. As you know, because you get WhatsApps from me in the middle of the night, I work all the time, like from when I wake up until I go to bed, which is interesting. I've got a 6-week-old baby now, so that's not going down incredibly well with my wife. But, ultimately real estate is a numbers game. So, if you've got 10 clients, maybe one of them or half of them will buy. So get 100 clients, and then you've got to manage that. You can't just let them sort of sit. So, there's been a mixture of strategy. But then there's been a mixture, I think, of just hard work and taking some interesting decisions. We'll come on social media, I think you said, but that's been a big thing as well. So there's an outline strategy, but actually the business is the one area where I haven't actually sketched it out, because I find it's far more fun to just go organically and see what happens.
Okay. So you said you didn't have a plan. You mentioned about the digital strategy. Was it always the aim to be more of a digital destination? Was that the focus? Or did that kind of grow organically?
No, 100%. Look at the name luxuryproperty.com. Like that's just an unbelievable domain. I've had people contacting me yesterday trying to buy offers and things like this. It's we always wanted to be a digital destination. Driving traffic, not just from the UAE but globally is a core part of our business. And we market not just here in the UAE, as we've got properties that we're marketing in Los Angeles, in New York, in London, in Seychelles, in Singapore. So you need people who are high net worth individuals and others who are basically sitting at home Googling, or their staff and their team sitting at home Googling, and you need to come up first. So I had an inquiry on a really great development in Mauritius called the Anahita that we market. I love it. It's by the Four Seasons. The golf course is amazing. I've played there. I've been there twice. And we market their villas. And we got an inquiry the other day, and I was just like, oh, I've not thought of them for a little while. Let me just quickly Google, and I'll just look up something that I wanted to know. And I Googled buy Anahita villas, I think it was, and we came up number 1 and 2. So that means that you're going to get in traffic, you're going to get in clients, and if you've got that, it's everything. So the digital strategy and becoming number 1, and now we basically we have the highest organic traffic in the UAE outside of the portals, and actually we have higher traffic than just property. So we're behind Bayut and Property Finder, but we have number 1 traffic there, and that's been achieved very quickly because we've had a very, very disciplined approach to it.
Okay, that's good. And yeah, I can only see that growing into the future as everything moves more online, that we're already seeing at the moment in the current pandemic. You're touching on social media as well, so that's something I wanted to ask you about. How have you built a social media following? And for anyone starting on Instagram, on YouTube, or any other one of the platforms, what's your tips to people on just starting out?
Well, I think, look, there's different parts of social media, but it is absolutely critical to any real estate agent to be on it. It's madness. I think there's a lot of brokers here in Dubai that if they list a property, they just expect their companies to put it on Property Finder and then they'll get leads, and that's the extent of their marketing. Your job as an agent is to go get leads. You should be thinking of the leads that your company is providing as a bonus on top of your own lead generation. And social media is at the core of that. So, I've always been on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been something for me, obviously, back in my more boring jobs that you would be on. That's a great resource. People should be using LinkedIn effectively, building their networks, putting out information, whether it be articles that they've written or bits about property or their own comments. You've got to build an identity on there. And you've also got the advantage that you've got a number of other ways in terms of, engaging with groups that can get you on there. Instagram, though, has been just a revelation for me. I'd never been on Instagram before. I wasn't on it personally. I was a Facebook user back in the day. I barely touch it now. I feel that it's died in many ways, unless it's sort of, fomenting dissent in the right wings of America. But I stay off politics. Instagram, I never planned to join. My wife was always like, don't join it, you'll just follow hot women. So I was never allowed to join it. And then we decided, actually, I need to do this. This is a good idea for real estate. And, you've got to get your name. It can either be your name. I'm obviously at Dubai Luxury Broker. I don't know if you can do graphics on these videos, but it should pop up now. That's been amazing. So, we've got beautiful photography that we can put out. We do great videos. But for me, social media, and the thing that's made it successful for me, is it's got to be a reflection of your own personality. If you basically just make it look boring and corporate, no one's interested. People follow people. People buy real estate from people. They don't buy it from a dull company. I have double the amount of followers our company has, and I'm sure that's the case for a lot of individuals. And the successful people that are doing it because it's something interesting about them. If you just do the old panning video, no one cares. Social media has been incredible. I hired you because of your YouTube. I hired Liam Jeffrey, one of our best agents, because of his YouTube. I hired Nicoline, who works in JG, from her Instagram. Why? Because I can see the way that they work. That's the type of person that I want working in our company and as part of our team. And if they're doing that and attracting me, they're going to attract clients. They're going to have clients who say, I want to do this. And the result is, you get incredible leads, you get great clients, and you get, as importantly, a great way to have continued engagement with your clients. So you've got to have a balance, between your own privacy, your own personal life, and I'm quite careful with that. You don't see a lot of just me generally around the house. You normally see me acting like an idiot. But that's what works for me, because that's my personality. And I think you've got to make your social media about your personality.
Definitely, yeah. Like you said, people buy into other people, and not just in real estate. I think you see it in other industries as well. Even in football, for example, the players get more interaction than the club accounts do necessarily. So I think that's definitely a good point. Is there one platform that you think is more important than another, or does it really depend on the personality of the agent?
Instagram for me is the best. It's so visual, and property is so visual that I find that it's the most effective. Equally, LinkedIn is very, very good. One of my colleagues gets great leads from LinkedIn. And then look, a couple of our agents are very active in Facebook. For me, I just don't use it anymore personally that much. But it does still have a great following. There are loads of groups out there. There are loads of people still on it, sometimes probably a little bit older. So if you think of your demographics, you get your TikTok for your young, you get your Instagram, you get your Facebook, and you get your LinkedIn. So you're basically covering sort of the broad breadth of demographics. And to be honest, you need to be on all of them. You can't just be on one. You can be very good at one. And of course, I didn't mention YouTube, which can cover everything. YouTube's a different thing. I think it's great to have stuff up there. It's great to have content. Whether that content is flashy tours or informational stuff like you've been doing at the moment, it's hugely useful, because you will have buyers and sellers who ask you a question, and the best thing to do is, oh, actually, we've got a video. Here you go. And they get that information there in that incredible way. So YouTube is also, I think, very, very, very useful. And I know Liam Jeffrey has closed a couple of big deals from YouTube clients as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it goes across all the different demographics, and it's really, it acts as a differentiator when you're sending clients information at that first contact point, that you're different to any other agent, whether you're sending an email, whether you're sending it on WhatsApp.
90% of agents in this market, and I know because I get the messages forwarded from clients, they'll send a WhatsApp because they don't bother picking up the phone. They'll send a WhatsApp and it will have, 6-bed, 15,000 square foot, cinema, blah, 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 price at the bottom. And then you'll suddenly get 20 messages as they send the individual photos, because they don't have a website like ours that can list things. They haven't got anything else. I've just sent out an email to clients just before I came on this call. And, I've gone into depth. I've included videos that I've done. I've included articles on visas. It's about providing some value add. Ultimately, we're paid to add value to our clients. And if you're just sending, regurgitated stuff, you don't add any value.
Definitely. Okay, so well, leading on to that, you're talking about how agents contact you. I wanted to ask you what you thought the best part of real estate is, like what's done really well here, and what's the worst part in the industry, and is that something like what would be the thing that you would change first if you were controlling the whole industry?
Well, the best part of real estate is in many ways the actual product. There's just some great products here in Dubai. Whether you're the phone call I just got off was with a client from Australia. $5 million budget, looking at penthouses, and it's a genuine pleasure to tell them about projects like the Royal Atlantis, which is going to be a globally iconic project. It's great to be able to take them through the detail of the nuances between downtown penthouses from the 118 and Volante, and how that contrasts with things like Vida and Address Fountain View and Address Boulevard and Address Skyview, and that difference. So I think the best thing about real estate is the product, because we have something really great to sell here, whether it be on price point or as an investment or as an end user thing. I think also, some of the brokers, there are some really great brokers in Dubai that do incredible work. Look, I'm not a natural salesman. I've never had formal sales training. I never worked in sales before. I see the way some of our team work and people in other companies. And I'm hugely impressed by the way they go about it, the discipline, the structure that they bring to add value to their clients. So that's the best thing. And the other half of it was what would I change?
Yeah, what's the worst thing? Is that the thing you'd change about the industry?
It's very, very difficult. I think there's so much inconsistency in brokers, which does damage to our profession. That is the one thing I'd change. If I could over-regulate to professionalize, so obviously on Property Finder or Bay, you can verify, you can check property. That means you prove that you are legally allowed to market it. That, I think, is a hugely important thing, because there's so many people that put up fake listings and things like this that needs handling. As a result, that drives down the trust in brokers. And I spend a lot of my time with clients trying to let them know that you can actually trust me, that we have that relationship. I'm not like everybody else. I think, trying to ensure that professionalization in terms of the brokers, so that people aren't getting 100 calls with the same message, which happens a fair bit here. It's trying to professionalize. And then the one other thing that I'd really love is, I just think exclusivity is something that we've got a bird up on my roof, by the way, great for sound. Is exclusivity. You have some discussions with sellers, and they'll say, well, but if I give it to you exclusively, how will I get these clients from these random brokerages? And that's not the point. I'm bringing a villa to market very soon. It's going to be sort of, in the 20 to 30 million range. I'm totally exclusive on it. I'm going to run it. I'm going to call all the agents because I want them to bring clients. I will do deal with any agent. If I'm marketing a property and you're an agent out there, bring me your clients. Because the point is, we get paid by the seller, you get paid by the buyer, as per RERA guidance. We should be reaching out to everybody to get that property sold. And I think that often sellers are misguided when they think that if they splash it on the portals with 10 people, that's going to be an advantage. No, it's not. It's going to undervalue and overexpose your property. And sometimes I do just sort of want to knock people's head together and remind them that we do this for a living. We know what works. And with respect, you're incredible in the oil and gas sector, but I'm not telling you how to do your job. So that's probably my other gripe.
Okay, well, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the points you've made. Taking it in a completely different direction, obviously, with the current situation that we're in at the moment with the pandemic and COVID-19, what do you think the effect is going to be on the industry in the, not in the short term, but in the mid to long term here in Dubai? And with that, I'm not talking just about prices, more about how business is done as well.
Well, I think, look, there's I was a nerd when I was young. So my master's degree is in terrorism and security, but my undergraduate was biochemistry, and I was very much a scientist person. So natural selection and evolution is something I obviously spent a lot of time studying. And we're about to see the survival of the fittest. If you are not running your business well in this market, you will fail. And that doesn't matter if you're in real estate or if you're in any other aspect of business. I go to a specific gym. I go to Crank to do spinning, and obviously we can't do that at the moment. But these guys have got timetables for workouts daily. They're keeping their clients loyal, and whilst they might not be able to earn much money now, I guarantee all those clients will go back to them afterwards. So as a business owner, you've got to look at what are you doing both financially to ensure that you're financially stable and you're putting in place the right sort of budgetary plan for this changed environment, but also then with your team, how are you making sure that your team are ready for when this crisis starts to come to an end? And I think the people that are out there now making their calls, speaking to their clients, bringing on new listings, they're going to be the ones that when this starts to sort of abate are going to jump and start making some really good money, and businesses will survive. Those that are sitting around huffing and puffing or taking the time off, they're just going to go under. And I think we need to accept the fact that not everyone will survive this crisis. And as a business owner, my job is, I have responsibility for the people that that work for me to try and make sure that we are giving them the best possible opportunity to be successful through this crisis.
Definitely. And do you think, well, the effect obviously of being inside at the moment and we can't do viewings with clients, do you think there'll be a long-term transition to stuff like virtual viewings, or do you think that will go completely back to normal where how everything was done traditionally in the past?
Well, I'm a big advocate for tech, and I love tech, and obviously we put out a huge amount of video content as standard. We're one of the only companies that try to do a video on virtually every property that we have. People will buy virtual viewings, through virtual viewings occasionally, but it's a small minority. People want to see. This is the biggest purchase of your life. It's so much more important. If you think about how long I take to decide which bookcase I was going to buy and research or whatever, or sofa, and that's a couple of $1,000. You compare that to buying a property, and it's just a totally different level. You want peace of mind. You want to see it. Do the walls sort of stay solid? Are there any issues with it? Does it have the right feeling and the right flow? So look, virtual viewings and 360 walkthroughs and everything like this, even if you get into VR, is great. It's a hugely useful tool, but it's a tool that's an addition to the basics of brokerage. And ultimately, I think that as these restrictions come off, people will want to get back viewing, and that's going to happen. So yes, I think we'll carry on and we'll see more of our own investment in some of these digital tools. But the core of it is people just want to get in and look at property and hopefully buy it or rent it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just going to be an additional tool, like you said, but I think it will just maybe form part of the funneling process at the start rather than the end part, which is everyone's still going to, especially if they're an end user, want to see the finished article in front of them. And with virtual viewing,
in many ways, it's a soft plan. So the people that will buy off plan are happy to do it on the basis of what something's going to look like. If you're selling that type of product, yeah, 100%. If it's an end user property, no, people are going to want to see it. So I think, yeah, it's a hugely useful tool. Again, one thing where Dubai, I think, really lags behind, we have incredible developers here. Like, you see Imar's name all around me. We've got all of the other developers, but the actual products that they put out could be vastly improved. If you go to some of the top level developments in New York, I remember there's one where basically they took a drone up to where the building would be, and they basically went to each unit and took video view of what the view was out of each unit. So why would you not do that here? Emaar Beachfront coming up, those views are going to be mind-blowing. Don't do a rubbish render. Just put a drone up and take a picture of what the view will be like at the 5th floor, the 10th floor, the 20th floor, and so on. So, I think that, even now, some of the developers are missing a trick. I found that, the Royal Atlantis, as an example, they do these, these drone trips to show you the progress. But the most important thing that they did was they started taking video on the site, and people were like, oh my God, that view is mind-blowing. You could have done that 2 years ago. You could have just put a drone up to, 102 meters at the 33rd floor and done that. So I think, hopefully this will make people think, and the developers think, we could maybe do a little bit more to help showcase the clients and help brokers to do their jobs.
Yeah, I do think a lot of developers became a bit complacent because they're making the sales and doing their normal business. They haven't necessarily thought about the customer experience enough. And now that it's more tough, they'll have to bring in these additional features to get more sales. And definitely, like what you said, a lot of them, they don't even have a show apartment or a show villa that you can even look at the property, or something like a walkthrough or views that you get from it to show the other sales points of that particular apartment or villa, as it may be. So I think definitely that's going to start to come in from more of the developers, especially the big ones. Yeah. Okay, Andrew. What I wanted to ask you is, I do this with all the people on the podcast, is a top 5. So depending on who they are, I ask them a top 5 list of things that are related to the real estate industry. So for you as a business owner of a real estate company here in Dubai, what are the top 5 tips that you would give someone running a real estate brokerage here in Dubai?
Interesting. And this should be something that I could reel off much easier. The number 1 tip, hire well. Look, when we set up the company, we've made some shocking hires, truly shocking hires, because at the time that was what we could hire because we didn't have the brand exposure and things like this. And over time, we've been able to hire better and better people. But you are only as good as your people. And if you hire well, whether it be in your operations and back office support team or whether it be in your brokers, that is going to forge success, which is really important. I think culture and structure would be my second tip. Again, what's interesting about these tips, there are areas where I feel that we've often not done as well, and now I'm realizing how important. So building the right culture, building the right structure for your brokers in terms of how they go about doing their work is hugely important. Hard work is unbelievably important as tip 3. You just have to be consistent. You have to be non-stop. You have to always, you can sometimes just sit and you're having a bad day and a lead comes in or whatever it is. You've got to pick up the phone every single time as if that person is writing you a check. If you don't do that, if you see a number from a country that you think is not that credible and you always get rubbish calls from them, you don't know who it is. It could be the president's son. It could be anyone. You don't know your clients. So I think, working hard and always maintaining that positive attitude would be tip 3. Tip 4, this is getting tough now. I think build positive relationships. I've always sort of tried to call our business non-denominational, and what I mean by that is, we're not anything to anyone in terms of in the market. I hope that basically any real estate agent watching this would happily call us and do a deal with us, because they know that we will be honest, straightforward, and we'll get the deal done in a collaborative manner with them. There's a lot of sharkishness behavior in Dubai where people don't want to work with other people, or they badmouth different agencies and so on and so forth. I don't want to do that. We don't. The name over the door is not Cummings Hayes. It's luxuryproperty.com. It's generic, and there's a reason we've done that, because we do want to have a relationship with everyone. So I think building good relationships is key. And then finally, the tip is, your clients are your revenue. So you've got to invest in them. You've got to add value to them. And if you ever think that you can just send them a rubbish email, we had an example the other day in the team meeting where we'd seen an email from one of our agents to a client, and the client was just unimpressed. It didn't have any detail in it at all. It was really, really bad. The client was basically, oh, well, I'll call some other people. Unfortunately, one of us stepped in, and now that client's golden. That client's got a big budget and is looking at some serious real estate. But the initial approach just was flippant. It was too, the agent was just too much, oh, here's a link to a property. No analysis. The email I just did was around, I put it onto Word, I did it on Word. It was 2 pages of detailed analysis of why these type of properties are there. So your clients are your money. You've got to add value to them. You've got to think about what they want. You've got to ask questions and listen to them and anticipate what they want. And if you prioritize your clients, if you focus on your clients, then you will be successful.
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And those are really good tips that you've given out here. You were mentioning about brokers before. Do you think, and giving the example of that email, do you think brokers generally across the city are just not really well trained enough? And what do you think companies and individuals as brokers need to do more in order to bring up the reputation of brokers in the city as being more knowledgeable and actually a valuable resource to customers?
Well, I think there's it's great that we have the RERA courses and things like that, and people need to take that type of stuff seriously so they do learn and add value. All companies need to invest in training in their staff. We again, I score on a curve, and I don't feel we've done anywhere near enough training for our staff. Everybody should always get more. Where we focused our time is much more on the one-to-one mentoring. So I think everybody in our team gets a lot of time with me or Jason, where we'll go out on viewings, we'll do calls with you, we'll try to teach you organically as much as it is sort of formalized training courses like we're doing at the moment during this lockdown. I think though that the brokers there's a little sense that I get from brokers that they feel that because they're commission only, they don't have responsibilities. I've had this discussion with people before where you're like, okay, you be in the office at 9. Why are you late? And they're like, oh, well, you're not paying me. Yes, I am. Do you think that the rent for this office? Do you think that our marketing budgets? Do you think that the operations team are free? No, they're paid for by the revenue that a broker brings. So when you actually I think brokers need to realize more the investment that companies are making in them. Every single broker costs their company money. And if they don't earn, they're a loss on the business. And I don't think brokers understand that. I think they feel because they're not being paid that actually they don't have the same responsibilities. And having come from a career where I was in a very structured, government, very structured thing, where you had your working hours, you had to do certain things if your bosses said, and so on and so forth. I'm always amazed sometimes when brokers won't do that. And I've heard that from other companies as well about, that people just think they can just sort of go and do whatever they want. So, I think that, there definitely needs to be more training, but, equally companies have a responsibility to give the right structure and guidance to their brokers in order to try bring out the best of them. But a broker needs to think of themselves as a standalone business. If you think of yourself as a business and one of your revenue streams is money that's coming in, say, from your website leads, from your property finder leads, but then what else are you getting from your signboards? Have you gone to the effort to put up signboards? Have you taken the responsibility? You all at my company get messages from me in the middle of the night because I've gone on somewhere and spotted that the featured photo is rubbish. And therefore you'll get an email. Why have you done that? Why didn't you think to put a more attractive photo? So I think if brokers take responsibility for their own business, then they'll be hugely successful. If they just want everything handed to them, then they're not going to be better than anyone else.
Yeah, that's the point I come to, because I think people, they don't necessarily, like you said, treat it as your own business, but maybe they're not trained in how to run a business, for example. So maybe they're not aware on like processes and those kind of things that businesses run on. You've obviously had that experience in your previous career, and like I've also been experienced with it. But if you've been in real estate your whole life and you've just come in and done kind of sales training, you don't maybe necessarily have the business acumen that it takes to have processes and bring that onto yourself.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's a very good point. I think as business owners, we it's about trying to figure out where the gaps are in everybody's skills. and how you can try to balance that. I'm always amazed when, maybe someone's received, I'll look at our CRM and someone's received 200 leads and, 150 of them are closed. And I'm like, what? Closed? Like, this person inquired and had no interest in property. For me, I don't want to close any lead because that's my business. The more clients that are in my bucket, the more that might buy at some point. Now, you've got to have that balance of where you can stay engaged with them. If you've just got people that are sitting in your CRM that aren't getting called, aren't receiving material, aren't having any conversations, you don't have reminders on, then there's no point at all. But, trying to make sure that you've sort of really done the work. And I think we looked in our training session the other day, we had those stats about the percentage of people that will make 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls, and only I think 8% of people will, call until you get to sort of reach your goal. And that's the point. Okay, yeah, he didn't answer, I pinged out a WhatsApp, then 2 days later you do it again. This is Dubai. In the meantime, 50 other agents have called that person. So, speed of it is key.
Definitely. And well, next point is I wanted to ask you about the plans for the future. So obviously for the company, luxuryproperty.com, but also for yourself, how you're planning to increase your own, I guess, personal brand and personal business as well. Where do you see?
To leave my terrace would be nice. That's my immediate priority and plan, is to leave my terrace. I moved to this property. It's a villa in the marina. A week before my baby was born. We chose it instead of going to a villa with a pool because we could go for walks around the marina. We're right next to restaurants and friends, and the pool is 10 meters from my door, but it's locked. So my current plan is to basically get naked and get in the pool. But beyond that, would be the question.
And well, for the company itself, where do you see it in 5-10 years time?
So look, we want to be the number one brokerage in Dubai, for what we do. We want to, it's been great to receive. I think we've won 3 Agent of the Month awards from Property Finder. We were in the Best Boutique Brokerage category, won Bay Agency of the Month. That's all great. To be honest, numbers are what matter to me. I want us to do more and more sales. I want our brokers to all be seen as the best at what they do. So, for us to be successful, if you look in a particular area, I want that broker to be the person that everybody thinks about, and that's sort of aspiration of what really breeds success. To know that if you're living in a certain area, you call us because that's we're the best company. We've got all the listings. You get the best service. So, providing a great service will bring us to have that prominence, to be able to have our brokers being successful. And if our brokers are successful, ultimately that's what does it for us. Equally, as you know, we market a lot of international property. We're doing a lot at the moment in terms of building some really, really interesting international relationships with some of the world's top brokers. So I'm excited about what might happen on the international stage moving forward. But for now, the main plan is keep our team motivated, excited, and make sure that as we head towards the second half of this year, everyone comes through it successfully, and helps build their own careers. It's both about making loads and loads of money, of course. Well, that's what we want as real estate agents, but it's also about building the careers and building their skill set. And I've spoken a lot, I think, with our team about this. It's not just about doing the same things. If you can build your skill set, you're building your own career. So that's really important. For me personally, keeping my 7-week-old baby alive is pretty much my main plan, and making sure that she's good and my wife doesn't go mad having to look after her the whole time. But I want to continue to build. I want the reputation of myself and the company to go from strength to strength. I want to keep doing deals. I unfortunately only get to spend 20% of my time actually doing brokerage. Obviously there's a lot going on running a company and doing all our marketing and everything else. I'd like to sort of keep making sure I'm working hard for my clients. Obviously, at the moment, I've sold the most expensive villa in Dubai, I think, in the last 18 months. The most expensive villa in Emirates Hills in nearly 2 years as well. 69 million dirham sale. I want more of those. I want to break more records. Just keep on getting deals done for my clients, and hopefully building a presence where people want to work with me. Brokers want to come and work with me and with our team, and agencies want to do deals with us, and we get more international collaboration. So for me, it's about, and also a few more followers on Instagram and YouTube wouldn't go amiss as well. But that's pretty much the extent of my plans.
How are you finding it with the newborn baby? Is it taking away a lot of time for you, or?
Content, like, the best thing is, like, she can't do anything. She's she's a baby. She's too stupid to even hold her own head up. So you can basically just do what you want with them, which is brilliant for content. Look, it's a challenging time. We're locked down at home. Because of the nature of what's going on, I'm spending a lot more of my time on the phone or on Zoom and things like this. And then we're going to have a big push once this opens back up. So, trying to find the time to make sure it's done. But, Friday's a daddy daycare day. I take the baby all day. I normally take a good portion of Saturday as well. Sing some stupid songs and raps with her. Try to give the wife a break. I take her from 8 p.m. every night when I finish work until around 2 or 3 a.m. So then I'm up early again. So it'd be nice to get some sleep at some point. But it's a great experience. I'm very pleased in many ways that I am home at the moment. It means that I'm getting to spend more time with them than I obviously would have done if I was back at work.
Definitely. Okay, Andrew. Thanks for answering all the questions, and thanks for coming on the podcast today. If you want to check out Andrew, if you want to give out your social media handles.
Definitely. At Dubai Luxury Broker on Instagram, and you can just search Andrew Cummings on YouTube. Go watch my stuff. I don't do it too sensibly, so it's hopefully relatively interesting.
Yeah, go follow Andrew on all his social media, especially his YouTube and his Instagram. And thanks for checking out this podcast of Realtor Talks, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Bye-bye.